Hey, this is Joe Castiglione, and you're listening to Not Another Sox Podcast. Can you believe it?
Yankees suck! Yankees suck!
Buenos noches, amigos, and welcome to another episode of Not Another Sox Podcast. I am Jack Webster here with our producer, Ian Doran. As always, coming at you live from Providence, Rhode Island. Fellas, we swept a team so bad they fired their GM and their manager on the same day.
I mean, to be fair, a long time coming for that Nationals team, but
Yeah, as a
Wow.
secondary Nationals fan, good.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
good.
When was the last time they were competitive? Was that Soto in the Soto era?
Yeah, the last time they made the playoffs is when they won the World Series in 2019. But this is not a Nationals podcast, it's a Red Sox podcast.
Yeah. I have more questions for you about that, but you're
Okay,
right.
yeah,
We should stay on
let's
brand.
just talk about it.
Do you want to? I was going to stay on
we got
brand.
plenty of the time to talk about the Red Sox. We talk about them too much.
Okay, mini game here. What is the best season since 2019 that the Nationals have had?
Oh God, probably 2020 because yeah,
Because they only played a handful of
yeah,
games.
and they didn't have Strasburg. Rendon left. Everything was kind of falling off.
Anthony
after that.
Rendon?
Yeah,
I hear he hates playing
yeah,
baseball.
he does, but which is a shame because he was good in Washington. But yeah.
Yeah, well, so was Soto, and now he's ass.
Yeah, and at least they got a good return for Soto, but
They did.
and now they need to get a good return for Mackenzie Gore for us.
Yeah, for all of you
Yeah.
baseball fans, Mackenzie Gore was the highlight of that trade for Soto, and now they should trade Gore to us. I would love that.
Yeah, will they? No, but
No.
it'd be fun.
For the same reason that we won't trade Grissom, just to show that you got something back for a guy that you threw to another team.
Yeah, except one of them's good, and it's Von Grissom.
Yeah. Von Grissom, OPS of 956 over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 whole home runs in AAA this year.
Yeah, unless that changed between Tuesday and now, which, I mean, probably did.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, maybe it didn't change because he's not playing a lot.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, because there's this other guy playing first base down there,
Were you relieved?
Masataka Yoshida.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to ask you more about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah, let's transition. Woo.
We'll come back to the Nationals series. We'll talk a bit more about that. But you had a Worcester trip this week. You saw Masataka Yoshida resuming baseball activities, playing first base. Tell me about it. How was your experience?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I ended up having the day off of work, so I was able to get to the ballpark early. Got to see him do some first base drills over there his second day. He did not fuck up any of them that I saw. So
Okay.
looked pretty good. You know, it wasn't at like full game speed or anything quite yet, and you know he's 5'8", so it's not a lot of. It was more kind of ground ball work than catching it high above your head. He avoided autographs though because I wanted to get my Yoshida jersey signed because I'm not a big autograph guy, but that one would have been cool.
Yeah, you love that boy.
Yeah, I do. The one positive of the Devers trade is we get to see our beautiful boy again.
Yeah,
so
just in time for them to trade him somewhere else. but-
Just in time for us to just do it all again. But no, he got to hit that game 1 for 3. They took him out after like the 5th or 6th inning or so. He was playing left field, which is encouraging because
Okay.
I thought he exploded or it was illegal for him to play the outfield like last year. So I don't know when he would ever play the outfield on this team currently.
Right.
You know, maybe some moves happen. That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, he's going to just slot in right at DH, kind of platoon with Rob Refsnyder, I'm sure. And you know what? That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny to think that there's almost an entire foot of difference between your typical first baseman, Tristan Casas, who's, 6'6", 6'7" killing machine, and Masataka Yoshida, 5'8" terror.
Yeah, caked up, though.
Yeah. What were those things clapping? Were them things clapping when you saw him?
Oh yeah, it was jiggling, double cheeks out, Tuesday afternoon, hella ass.
Jiggle, and
Yeah.
fold. Wow. I'm really excited to see him play more. I always liked him as a player. Like, he had some hot and cold stretches, but his strikeout rate stayed low. He was really good at putting the ball in play. Like, and he was really good in the WBC when he came over to us. So I am excited to see more Masataka Yoshida.
Yeah, no, he will definitely be a good addition to this club. Like, he will kind of add a little bit more stability in the middle of that lineup because we see now that hopefully Bregman's coming back and you're getting some production out of some of the other guys, like the top of the order, you feel pretty confident in, and then other than like Cedon Rafaela batting 8th or 9th, like it's a whole bunch of nothing a lot of other days. So it'll help extend it a little bit more. It'll help, kind of put balls in play since you see this team strike out a lot with runners in scoring position.
What?
There's a runner on second base, no outs. You don't advance him by any means, or like runner on third with 1 out and you're not able to bring him in. And Yoshida will start helping out with a lot of that too, since obviously just great bat to ball skills, but I'm hoping that we see even a little bit more like that really high on base kind of that we were expecting from Japan, which we've seen plenty of flashes of at certain times where like he looks like he's one of the best hitters in baseball. So I feel like if he can find a little bit more consistency this year, then that'll probably go a long way for him.
Yeah. How was your Worcester experience otherwise? Did we win? Who else looked good?
Yeah, I got there early, so I got a cowboy hat, which was pretty cool.
You woke up early and said, let's go to the ballpark.
Whoa! Yeah. I didn't end up staying the whole game because it started to rain, which it wasn't raining in Pawtucket, by the way. But
yeah, if only they had a stadium to play at.
Yeah, I know. But anyways, there wasn't a ton of other standouts from that game. Christian Campbell had a few hits, which was nice. He also looked pretty good at first. The pitcher for the Woo Sox, Uberstein or whatever, I was kind of interested to see what he had because I've heard some good things about him. He didn't impress me too much. Like low 90s, blew up. Like it was a good team they're facing, the Syracuse Mets, and they had Luis Angel Acuna and Francisco Alvarez, and Pablo Reyes hit one of the longest home runs
I believe that
I've seen at the ballpark. It went almost over that scoreboard in left field. I was just like, that's hilarious. Yeah. I cannot be mad at all. And then
Put
he hit
it right
another
next to Roman Anthony's 500-foot grand slam.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the same dude. Yeah.
That's really funny. I miss Pablo Reyes. I actually don't. I would be fine if I never saw him.
I was gonna say, I'm not
uniform.
sure. You know what? He's probably better than David Hamilton, but
he is probably gonna make another club very happy, like the AAA Mets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, why don't we jump into our fit check here a little bit? You got a nice bright blue jersey on.
I know, kind of ironic since we were just facing the Nationals, as Christy points out in the chat.
Hi, Christy.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually her jersey that I got for her for Christmas one year, but you know what? She brought it down and she was like, wear it. And I was like, okay. But yeah, the nice just Montreal logo right here. Like,
bright blue.
Very underrated. You got the little crest thingy. And 45. Who's that?
Who is number 45?
Yeah.
Who is number?
He's this guy that some Red Sox fans might know.
Is
Pedro
that
Martinez.
45? Pedro Martinez.
Actually, Dennis Martinez, his brother, but no, it is Pedro.
Was he number 45 in Montreal as well?
He was as well.
Wow,
yeah.
so we bought the number off him too.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, great baseball player in the Hall of Fame. We were there.
We were. That was a
no.
Great...
We were at David Ortiz.
We were at David Ortiz,
mind,
but he spoke at David Ortiz's inauguration, and he had a lot of really good things to say. Like, he almost gave an acceptance speech based on his time in Boston, but tied it in really well to like David Ortiz exhibits a lot of the things that make a baseball player great. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm Pedro Martinez. David Ortiz, take this trophy or this plaque, or the trophy is synonymous with plaque.
Yeah.
We got some activity in chat going on here. What do we got?
Dennis Martinez, perfect game legend. Yeah, Dennis Martinez threw a perfect game, and Pedro never threw a no-hitter, which is kind of funny.
Wait, put that up on the screen one more time. I don't know if it made it on.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, it did? So Dennis Martinez, perfect game?
Yeah, he did throw a perfect game for Montreal. Pedro threw 9 perfect innings, but it was 0-0. And then the Expos scored for him in the top of the 10th. But then he gave up a leadoff double in the bottom of the 10th. But it does not count as a perfect game because there was a hit given up.
I don't know how to say this, but that's fucking horseshit.
Yeah, no, he got robbed. I'm going to count it anyways. I'm counting him in Galarraga. And I'm not counting what's-his-face from the Yankees a few years ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Domingo Germán?
Yeah, Pedro Martinez
I'm not counting him.
has less in common with Domingo Germán
I
than
know.
Dennis Martinez
I will
does.
respect Phil Humber and Dallas Braden as those random ass
and
perfect
Randy
games.
Johnson that one
Yeah,
time.
Randy Johnson.
Right, the one guy who like should have thrown a perfect game, and then what'd you say, Phil Humber?
Yeah, Phil Humber. What are some other random ass perfect games?
Domingo Germán.
Yeah, that very random. Yep.
Even if
We
that
need another Red Sox no hitter. I kind of hope for it every Crochet start, and every Crochet start, I'm like after the first inning, I'm like, ooh,
yeah. If you see the stuff is on, you're like, can he go 9?
Could he do it? Yeah, that one against the White Sox earlier this year, I was like, he's gonna do it after like the second inning, and then he got close. He got like 7 1/3 or something, right?
I think he did, and he gave it up to Chase Mydroth.
Oh, that's right, he did. Yeah,
who is a guy honestly I would love to have back, but also there's just not room for him on the roster.
Yeah,
you've moved on from Chase Mydroth.
Yeah, he would actually probably be your first baseman if he was over here.
He probably would be.
Yeah.
I mean, who are the other options? Romy Gonzalez, Abraham Toro, now Massa, now Campbell.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would make that cut.
I mean, he's been doing pretty good, and I mean, I feel like he would have gotten a chance at some point, and he's been taking advantage of it in Chicago, so you got to think, he would probably do it in Boston. But again, I do not care.
Good point.
Yeah,
I guess I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah. He seems like a nice dude, according to like every single person that is like in the know with the Woo Sox. But yeah,
let's break down our national series a bit. Actually, let's do this.
We got a game and a half.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we got a game and a half against the Reds.
You're
since
right.
we were doing it Tuesday, and then
from Chili's, by the way,
Chili's,
great episode. Go listen.
Great episode.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep. 5
Send
stars.
us money.
So, but yeah, we got most of that series that we didn't talk about.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about what was the suspended second game? You came back, started in the 3rd inning, I think, and you had Bayo go out.
Yeah.
Started in the 4th inning. Bayo went out and actually pitched really, really well. And who ended up? Oh, it was Chapman closed that game because we didn't have him for the night game when you put Greg Weissart out for his 42nd appearance. Let's talk about resuming game 2 and winning.
Yeah, so Bayo gave up a leadoff walk and then a home run, and then he did that Brian Bayo thing where he just is great after that. Like, Brian Bayo loves just giving up 2-3 runs, looking like he's gonna get shelled that day, and then still throw a quality start. And obviously, this was not even technically a start because it was a relief appearance,
which is fucking stupid, by the way.
And I do question the strategy behind it because you're already starting in the 4th inning, and you're gonna have a bullpen game in the second one anyways. So for me, it makes more sense to just try to piece together that bullpen when you only have 6 innings, and you could have Bernardino or Chris Murphy throw 2 1/3 innings. And, if you do need to use your back end guys and Hicks and Chapman in that game, that's fine too. And then you have Brian Bayo in the second game who's able to, give you everything he got, because over that 5 innings, he only was at 60 some odd pitches. So if it was a different scenario where the Red Sox, didn't have the lead, he would have gone back out for the 9th, I'm sure. Or, if it was, or we just scored 7 runs and it wasn't close and it wasn't a save situation, then we would have just had him continue to go out still. but it feels like, you kind of burnt him a little bit. Like, obviously, you don't have the crystal ball. You don't know what's going to happen in, like, between the two games. But when you have, like, a bullpen game in the second game, and then you don't even use that 27th man until, like, later on in the game when it was a blowout, like, it just feels like kind of a waste. It feels like poor mixing and matching to a degree.
Things like that make me wonder if players like Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen, if true ninth inning guys have it in their contract that they must be sent out in any reasonable save situation. Like using Chapman 3 days in a row, you might be able to say he is not available for this save. But if you got Bayo at 60-something pitches and you only got 1 inning of baseball left, and you put in Aroldis Chapman to win you the game, sure, it's a more guaranteed win, but I'm also wondering, does Aroldis Chapman's contract have a clause in it that says you must send him in for save situations as a Hall of Fame
It definitely
save?
does not. So most contracts
so?
would not have that. But Chapman, I mean, when he signed here, I don't think many of us thought he was going to actually end up being the closer. You thought you might get another guy, or you thought it might be Kyle Hendricks or even Justin Slayton.
Hendricks.
Or not Kyle Hendricks.
Liam Hendricks.
Liam Hendricks, yeah.
Or Justin Slayton.
Basically the same thing at this point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Slayton, or, you end up trading or signing Kirby Yates or Tanner Scott or whatever. So Chapman did not even come to the club thinking that he was going to be the closer. And even if you did sign someone, like the Yates or the Tanner Scott, you probably don't even have that in there anyways, because you have it in a modern sense where your closer is not always your best guy anyway. So we've seen Chapman throw like the 8th inning, like today even, and I think he's more than willing to come out whenever, because he's been a non-closer on a lot of other ball clubs at this point. Like he has like last year, he was on the Pirates, and I don't even think he was the closer for them. It was David Bednar. And then, he was on the Royals, and he probably was, and then he went to the Rangers, and I don't think he was the closer there. So I think he, at this point in his career, doesn't even expect it. But, he, as much as I hate him as a human, he is the best guy for that right now.
He's earned the closer role on this ball club.
Yeah, and he's literally an all-star. I mean, I'm not sure you should be promoting a guy like that in a game like this, but totally different conversation. But yeah, in terms of the baseballness of it, which I hate talking about him without that huge cloud looming overhead.
The work-life balance.
Yeah, exactly. And I will bring it up every time because you should. But yeah, like in terms of the rest of that, he's obviously, that guy at this point in his career again.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah.
Trust me, you're not that guy. No, he's looked really great, literal all-star, like you said, which we'll get to some of the all-star stuff later. It's the third game of the Red Series for me that made me realize the girl I brought home from the dance.
Yeah, that one was one of the worst games of the season, and you win the series. And that last game was so shitty that the taste was just awful in your mouth after it, just absolutely collapsing. We were up 3-0, and then Greg Weissert came in and immediately gave up a grand slam. And then I think Jordan Hicks gave up a few too. There was some bad luck in there, and the bats didn't end up coming back, and you have a horrible base running decision by Romy Gonzalez, wherein he was the tying run at the time, just going to third for no reason. There was no outs in the inning. So it was just another sloppy game. Had a few more errors in there somewhere. Oh, there was that one play where...
there was an error from Abraham Toro that would have gotten you an out and probably got you closer to the end of the inning. And I think there was an error on Abreu in the outfield as well. I think it was a throwing error.
No, it was Roman.
It was Roman.
It was Roman, where
throwing error
Meyer just couldn't reach a ball, and then there was an easy force out at second even. he like just lollipops it in and it goes right over the head. And then the other play I was thinking of was when the bases were loaded. Like I think it was a story error even where like the ball ricocheted off his glove.
I think,
and then
yeah.
Meyer threw to third when he should have thrown to home, and then there was like
They
another
threw-
three
and
bad
then third
throws.
threw to home, and then home threw back to third.
And
Yeah, it was
yeah. So and that's when
garbo.
you knew the game was over. At that point, like I think I checked out, just started playing Pokemon trading card game, and that was the right decision because that night was horrible. Yeah.
It was, and I hate to say it's predictable. Weissart is one of those guys I feel like I watch, you know, right away if he has it or he doesn't.
Yep.
And there are other players you watch and you can say, oh, they're not A plus, like you said today around Crochet. You know that he's not your A plus pitcher today, but he still got you 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. Like, even if his stuff is not A plus, you might get a B or B plus pitcher out of him. With Weissart, you get A plus or you get like C minus. Like you did pitch, you did absolutely.
Or
do
in
it.
that Wednesday game, an F.
That was an F.
That was a complete F.
Loaded-
Today also very bad.
Yes, also F.
And it's the same exact thing in the same exact time frame that happened last year, and we just did not learn our lesson whatsoever. Literally
You mean using him 50% of the time.
yeah, like coming out in the American League leading like 44, 45 games at this point. Like it's literally every other day. It's in high leverage spots. Like he's been asked to go more than 1 inning multiple times too. Like we saw this same exact thing happen last year where he was so effective up until a point, really hit that wall. You ended up sending him down last year even, and like he pitched 2 times in a month after that, and then came back and was great. It's not a crazy formula to understand, or if it happens twice, then like you start to understand why it's happening. Like it's because this guy has been taxed, and you know it's not even like in terms of like stuff a lot, because like he'll still throw hard and you know the sweeper will do the sweeping. It's just he loses all location. Bases loaded walk today too. Like you just see him not be able to control it at all, and it leads to some pitches missing over the heart of the plate too that end up getting crushed.
I was gonna say it's always the slider at 87 ends up right over the heart of the plate, and guys take it deep every single time.
Yep. It's ugly right now. I honestly would just rest him the rest of the week, give him the All-Star game off, and hopefully just we see more of the first part of the season Greg as opposed to the guy that's his arm is falling off in his spaghetti.
Yeah, I think management kind of misuses him, or has misused him. He is overtaxed. You're not putting him in all the positions he could succeed. Actually, the problem is you are putting him in every position where you hope he will succeed. But at the same time, up 3-0, came in, loads the bases, gives up what
the
I
most
felt
obvious grand slam,
the most
of-
predictable
yeah.
grand slam I've ever seen in my life, to Encarnacion, who was projected to be great this year, hasn't really put it together, but of course came out and gave you a monster grand slam, left Fenway right when you knew he was going to fucking do it. And that sucked, and then they tacked on another one. Red Sox rallied 1 whole run to make it 5-4, and then all this defensive...
Yeah, and it was the Romy bullshit where
Yeah.
he got thrown out on the bases when he could have been the tying run.
Yeah.
And then he gave up some more, and it ended up not mattering. But, yeah, that game felt so predictable at the same time.
And it was even more embarrassing when, even though we were losing, we were giving up all these fucking errors. We were missing players, missing throws. It was truly embarrassing. I could not wait for it
It
to be
truly
over.
encapsulated a lot of the problems with the team this year.
It did. The good news, we won the series. It's like you ate a beef Wellington cooked by Gordon Ramsay, and then you ate a pile of dog shit.
Yep. Yeah.
I forgot the beef Wellington. It all tastes like dog shit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Yeah.
great analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But now we get to talk about the National Series, which is the best I have seen this team play all year, and it should be because the Nationals
Yeah.
are garbo.
Yeah.
But this team busted it open 2 games.
Well, before we talk about the National Series, there was a field trip. The team had a field trip on Thursday.
Did they do that before they even started playing any baseball?
Yeah, no, they had the off day in DC, and guys did different things.
Do you think it's telling which ones they chose? I don't think it's too telling. I think going to meet the president, whether you like him or not, is still a massive opportunity. This is not a president I would care too much to meet, but meeting the president might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Duran or Abreu in this scenario.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the field trip.
Yeah, so from what I understand, it was supposed to just be like a normal tour of the White House. And, you know, obviously, there was some legislation passed earlier that day. And we're not a political show, but a lot of people aren't happy about it.
What was it? In very short, non-baseball terms.
It certainly was big. I wouldn't describe it as beautiful, and it was a bill. So 2 out of the 3 words were true.
Fun fact, that bill intentionally left out or ignored regulations for AI, which the Senate voted 99-1 that there needed to be regulations around AI. Just wanted to point out that very fun, interesting fact that 99-1 there needed to be regulations around AI. But it's everything else in there that I think you're kind of, referencing.
Yeah. And again,
major.
Not a political show. I think you guys can tell which way we might lean. And, you see the players that are doing it, and some are obvious and some are surprising. And there were also some surprising misses, and there was some ones where you're like, good, you're at the zoo. Like, you're not actively supporting all of this. So, kind of hilarious at the end of the day. And when I say hilarious, I mean,
Also, isn't it really funny to think, what if Garrett Crochet just really fucking wanted to go to the zoo?
It's a good zoo.
I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
It's free too?
Yeah, no, you just walk in. Like, you don't need a ticket. You just see some pandas. You do some other stuff. You can... I have not done this, for the record, but like I know people that have just gone sloshed at that zoo, and
hold on. When you say, for the record, you haven't done this, are you lying?
No, I really haven't. I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I'm not saying I'm above this, but
we gotta do not another Sox field trip.
Yeah. The only problem with the zoo is it's not that close to a metro, so you either like gotta get there and then walk a while, and you're already walking at the zoo, or you just need an Uber, and it's expensive around, so it's not the most accessible zoo, but there's a lot to do there, and they got the pandas.
And Garrett Crochet just really fucking wanted to go to the zoo.
Yeah, and Alex Cora, he also wanted to go to the zoo, and you know what? He should be able to do that.
Yeah. Also, the baseball
I saw
players...
Massa at the zoo, but he was not at that zoo.
No, you saw him at the Rhode Island Zoo, which also not a bad zoo.
Yeah, a decent zoo. Yeah, they got all the animals you want to see.
Roger Williams. Yeah, also plug for Roger Williams Park Zoo. Their Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular is phenomenal.
Yeah, they do.
Is a banger.
Yeah.
Their Christmas one is good too, but the Jack-O-Lantern Spectacular is
yeah,
a banger.
You got to do that every year.
Yeah, sponsor us, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're the Roger Williams Park Zoo and you're listening to this, we know you are. Sponsor us.
Yeah.
Or don't. I don't know. We should do one from the Lion's Cage.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Not another Sox podcast running from cheetahs episode.
Hell yeah.
Riding elephants. But you're right. It was an interesting field trip. The clips that came out of it, I don't know, were kind of weird. But I love the guys who were just like, I wonder what the chimpanzees are doing today. And then the other guys that went to the zoo.
Yeah.
Oh, man, got him. You thought I wasn't making a joke.
Wow.
And then they went to Nationals Park for Nationals games.
Yeah, and then they actually played baseball, and we moved on with their lives. Yeah.
What's the name of that field?
It's just Nats Park.
It is just
Nationals Park, yeah.
I see it. That's what I thought it was. And I was like, it's so
They're
weird.
one of like
it's
only
like the
3 or 4
Washington football team being named the Washington football team.
Yeah, it's one of only a few stadiums that still doesn't have a sponsor name, which is very surprising. Because they just got a sponsor patch, AARP, which was hilarious. The only one that could have been funnier is if it was like Raytheon, which would have been very fitting for DC. But I think they might have thought better of it.
When was the last time we played the July 4th game against the Nationals?
It was in 2018 because I was there.
Because you were living in New Jersey at the time,
Yep,
right?
literally left the game at or the game for the team I was working for at 10. Got home at 1 a.m. To DC. Woke up at probably 7:30 or 8 and headed to the ballpark because they also do an 11 o'clock game and they're at home every 4th of July. So you got to get there early. You got to get your hot dogs. You got to get your beers. And it was very hot from what I remember. I was sweating my balls off. I have been also to the different Nationals 4th of July game many years earlier. And it was funny because it was against the Giants. So that means the game started at 8 o'clock if you're in San Francisco.
Ouch.
So also very funny. But it's a great tradition, and it makes a lot of sense because there's a lot going on in D.C. on the 4th of July, as you might guess. So I'm sure they just don't want too much to be congested in different areas and different fireworks shows going off and all that different type of stuff. So it's really fun. Last time we were there on the 4th of July, we also won. I believe we also swept Rick Porcello, not in the 4th of July game, but hit that big bases clearing double off of Max Scherzer, and I think everybody will remember that forever.
Yeah, back when you were playing in a National League park, you had to have your pitcher hit a baseball.
Yeah. That was fun for a little bit, but I'm glad we moved on from it.
Yeah, and it was one or the other, right? We had a foot in both lanes for a second. These teams can play with a DH. These teams must play with a pitcher. It's either all the pitchers hit or all the teams have DH. If all the pitchers hit, also would have been really funny. But I think the universal DH is now important.
Yeah, now we actually get to see more actual baseball, which is good. Yeah.
So back in 2018, which you went to, also the last year we had won a World Series, as we all know. Watching this series, what stood out to you about this team where it is right now?
The Red Sox. So
unfortunately,
yeah. This was a series we at least had to take 2 out of 3 in, if not sweep. This is a bad team in the Nationals, which is unfortunate because they've been bad for a while, and I would rather see them be good.
Yeah. Bad long enough to fire your president of baseball operations and manager in the same day.
Yep. So you had the pitching matchups coming in. Lucas Giolito was great coming in, obviously threw another great game. And then you had Walker, coming in at least. And you had Crochet, who's been your ace. So you see a path for, another series victory, 2 in a row now, which we were slacking on for a bit. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And each game, we came out swinging right out of the gates.
Yeah.
How many runs did we score that first game in the
I think
first?
It was 10-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
in the first inning.
Okay, so in the first game, we only scored 2 in the second, and then we erupted in the 5th for another 7 runs. So it was 9-0 by the time Lucas Giolito started really getting working. Also cool that this was his first time facing the Nationals since he was drafted by them and traded by them in the Adam Eaton trade, not Nate Eaton.
Adam
and
Eaton, okay.
that's ended up winning the World Series as we talked about. But I'm sure it felt great for Lucas Giolito. 7 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 7 Ks. Just getting it done.
Yeah, getting the work done, and he has been doing more of that lately, which I am hoping he's not just on a run and he's about to come back down to earth. But his strategy for preparing for games is interesting. Weren't they saying he plays MLB The Show as himself against the team he is playing against?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard this for a while before, and he's a big nerd. And he was obviously not at the White House, given a lot of his comments and statements in the past, which we love. Yeah. So to see him, do good. He seems like a really good dude. Very handsome.
Are you saying that because you guys look alike?
Oh, or if you're saying that, and I'm saying he's handsome, then that must mean...
No, that's not what I'm saying. It is what I am asking you. It is a question for you. Are you saying that because you think you guys look alike? Question mark.
I think people have told me that we look alike, and I think he's handsome.
Okay. Are you a narcissist? Would
No.
you tell me? You probably wouldn't.
No, I'm
actually.
saying Lucas Giolito looks nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with you?
People say that I look like him.
Do you think that you're handsome?
I'm saying
I'm
Lucas
asking,
Giolito.
do you think that you're handsome?
My mom thinks I am.
I think you're handsome.
No. But anyways, yeah, that was a good game. I wish I hate to nitpick in like an 11-2 game, but yeah, using Whitlock in an absolute
I'm
blowout.
glad you said that. I hate to nitpick in an 11-2 game, but why are you using Whitlock in a fucking
you
blowout?
literally should have just used like a position player at that point.
Yeah.
Like, it's a 10-run game.
Nate Eaton has a 0 ERA.
Yeah,
Put him in.
Nate Eaton has a 0 ERA. If it really starts to blow up, then you'd use Whitlock anyways. But yeah, it just seemed very unnecessary. And, you know, if you didn't use him on Monday, you could have used him for 2 innings today instead of having to burn out Greg Weissart again. So it does end up, coming back to bite you.
Which I think you can use Whitlock a bit more often. Like, he's in this really unique role where he's still a high leverage guy because his stuff is good, but he's also not your go-to high leverage guy because we've seen him blow up in high leverage situations. But I think you can use Whitlock more, not necessarily as a mop-up guy. You can use him in other places, and then just don't burn him out or burn out Greg Weissart.
Yeah, exactly. So, whatever at the end of the day.
Whatever. You did. Yeah. You said it. Game 2 was Buehler on the mound, which did not go the full 6 innings, but encouraging sign, 5 1/3, and what was it, 2 runs?
5 flat, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. I mean, it's definitely better. Yeah,
it's better.
Yeah.
And what I like about Buehler, despite his being very not good recently, is he does still have swing and miss stuff, and he turned to the knuckle curve in that game, which he really got some rhythm off. He really got that moving.
I don't think he got that many whiffs at the end of the day. I think he probably only got like 7 or 8, which is not a lot.
You know, if I was better at Fangraphs, I'd look it up right now on Fangraphs.
I can find it on Savant.
What if I find it on Savant?
Okay.
I actually can't. I don't have it downloaded. But ultimately, more encouraging to see Buehler 5 innings, 2 runs, as opposed to 2 innings, 10 runs, or 3 innings.
Yeah, 7 whiffs.
7 whiffs.
It's not.
It's actually, that's not great.
Yeah.
But I think,
but the encouraging thing for me, no walks.
No walks.
No walks.
No walker.
I will. Yeah. No Walker Buehler. That's what we should call him, because he's already had like 4 times this year where he's walked guys with the bases loaded. Red Sox must be leading the entire world in that as like a team too, because it happens like 3 times a week, it feels like, and it's infuriating.
What were his Ks in that game?
Only 2.
Only 2. Okay.
Yeah. And one was looking, from what I remember, but
maybe I'm failing the eye test. But anyway, 5 innings.
But anyways, we scored
earned.
9 in the first fucking like 3-4 innings again.
Yeah,
so,
blew it out twice, which I hate that for the run differential, but blew it out twice and you walked away.
Now it's happening a little bit more in our favor, so I'm more accepting of it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with Peter Fatsy's tutelage as a hitting coach, or do you think that the Rafael Devers trade shook this team up enough that they're all stepping up to win games?
I mean, I've been critical of Fatsy, and you got to give credit when it's due. Like when the guys are.
I
actually,
do not.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Well, I think with specific players and examples. So
you like Cedon a lot, I think, right?
So Cedon has clearly had a different approach, and I'm sure there's a few mechanical things that have gone into, like we've been saying, him pulling more fly balls in the air. So I feel like there has been a legitimate adjustment, and you're not going to learn that on your own. And then there's other guys, like Connor Wong, where whatever happened there, like I know it wasn't like off the charts data last year, but it was at least playable, and now he's just the worst player I think I've seen in a few years. Yeah, on this club. And that's saying a lot, because we've had a lot of bad players.
Name 1.
Bobby Dahlbeck.
Name 2.
Franchi Cordero.
Please stop.
Yep.
Fatsy's not on my good side yet.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced, just based on the lack of good hitters hitting with runners and scoring. But Cedon has definitely made a huge offensive stride
above
forward.
league average weighted runs created plus now, and that was even before
Officially
today's game
for the whole season.
Yeah, for the whole season, and that was before he hit another home run and another double today too. So
yeah,
it's probably
back-to-back
above
days
that.
of home runs for Cedon.
Yeah,
He looks better. I will say
no, he
that.
looks like an actual competent hitter. And over the first month of the season, it looked like, same old bullshit. But he did make an adjustment, and he deserves credit for that. And, he's probably the most valuable player on this team, currently not named Garrett Crochet. Maybe Carlos Narvaez, but Alex Bregman, he's right up there when he's healthy. But, yeah, I can't really name anybody else that has produced on both sides of the ball, better more recently at least.
Yeah, we're going to put pins in that because, 10 minutes from now, we're going to have a very angry all-star conversation.
Yeah.
But to finish out the series, so Buehler had an encouraging start, and the bullpen came in. They didn't.
I think Buehler had a good enough start where you can
play
justify
again.
another one. I'm taking it game by game at this point. I'm not guaranteeing him anything. Obviously, there's the whole trade deadline coming up in a few weeks too. That's a conversation for another day. But he earned another start after that, and we'll see.
And we'll see. Of all the options we have, I think right now you need him as a guy in your 5-man. But also right now, you're right. It's game by game. If he gives us another game of 2 innings, 10 runs baseball, you have the conversation.
Yeah, like at that point, you're like, it is every other start where it's uncompetitive. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Non-baseball, total dude. Big clubhouse energy.
Seems
Guys
like a
love
really
him.
nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeesh.
Yeah, yeesh. And then the bullpen came in, and I would say got it done. I was never worried in game 2.
No, yeah, it was a bit of a blowout again. You didn't have to use anybody high leverage. Weissart did pitch in that game. Jesus Christ.
Alcala came in, threw 100 to end the game.
Yep, he's looked great for us. Yeah.
Small
sample size. I'm not
Yeah.
going crazy or saying make him the setup man, but he looks like a reliable arm out there. He's not walking dudes, which was his problem in Minnesota. So as long as he's not doing that and keeping the ball in the ballpark, that's good.
I've been wondering who our mop-up guy is these days, which in the same way that he is high leverage, it feels like Greg Weissart is as mop-up as he is high leverage. Same with Bernie. Is mop-up as often as he is high leverage. Alcala, I haven't seen in too many high leverage places, but he's throwing 100 and he's not walking guys. So
yeah. And you have Chris Murphy, but you also have to be careful since he is coming off of Tommy John, and
the sandwich.
Yeah, the sandwich.
Thank
you.
you.
And he's looked great. I did get to see him in that game on Wednesday afternoon. And the stuff wise, he looked as electric as ever. I missed the long hair. I missed the flow. But I think he can be a good addition for this bullpen. And if he can give you multiple innings, even if it is in a loss or a blowout win, there's a lot of value in that. So I hope he continues to, show that he's a valuable member of this club. But when you already have a few other lefties in there, it's probably between him and Bernardino kind of for that mop-up role right now.
Yeah. And before we finish out talking about this series, Roman looked phenomenal for the entirety of it.
Yep, the hits are falling in. He's hitting it hard. Defense has been really good except for that one play that we talked about earlier.
But he also made, I think, 2 diving catches in the outfield.
He did, yeah. One of them was a 15% catch probability. He's looking very legitimate out there. There was a lot of people that were like, oh, you're playing him in right field? That's going to go bad because he only played center and left. And it was fine. I was never worried about him playing right field. He's still played baseball his whole life. He's played right field. It's okay. Yeah.
And you want the best outfielder in the best outfield position they are at. But, if you play outfield, you can play most positions in outfield, with center field being the hard one. But
yeah, right field at Fenway is very hard. I'll say that. But he's looked comfortable out there. He obviously knows the dimensions of the ballpark from spring and other various minor league parks that are kind of similar. We set up similarly, so he's impressed me for sure. I just wanted him to be at least average, and he's been well above average, so I've been happy with that.
And James Wood in that series hit 1 for 10.
Yeah, I was willing to just do what like the Diamondbacks did last week and give him the Barry Bonds treatment because there is not a whole lot else out in that lineup. But we attacked him. I think he maybe earned a few walks. I think he got a hit by pitch today too. But like, the one hit was a single. Yeah,
just kidding.
Yeah,
it was a single.
Yeah, it was just single up the middle off of Crochet or somebody else. So. You really limited him, and you end up sweeping him. So kind of the key of the whole thing. And he's so young and so talented, and obviously the face of that franchise right now. So
yeah, he's the only scary person in that lineup.
It almost reminds me of in 2021 when we faced the Nationals in DC, that last series of the season where we needed to sweep in order to make a playoff spot, and we did. But we kept Juan Soto quiet that entire series. There was a few close calls of like warning track shots, which I don't even think we got from James Wood. But like it was the same kind of feeling almost. A lot less stakes in middle of or early July versus last season, last series of the season. But we kept that one slugger in the lineup, down and out, and the rest found its way out.
We are going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I would love to finish talking about this series.
Yeah, we got the game today too. Yeah,
Crochet,
you were busy. What were you doing today?
Oh yeah,
let's talk about that first. Yeah,
I was at Banana Ball today.
Yeah,
I saw the Savannah Bananas at Fenway Park. Which, if you're watching the video of this, I've got my yellow City Connect jersey on. I've got my banana glasses, which are just regular yellow sunglasses, by the way. Ducks are also yellow in cartoons, which we found out today. But went to Banana Ball for the first time. Had a lot of fun.
Yep.
Went with our buddy Zach at
in the chat right now.
Yeah, Zach. He made a really good point that somehow in Banana Ball, baseball became pretty secondary to the entertainment value of all the things that they're doing. The games don't really count for much. Like, they have a fan base as much as it is entertainment, but not like a baseball team. But everything was yellow. Like, they even brought out yellow, colorful beers and things like that. The mascots are running all over the field throughout the entire game, by the way. Celebrity appearances. Mr. T was there, played no baseball, just walked out of the bullpen with them. Johnny Damon hit today. Jackie Bradley Jr. hit today. Had a ton of fun at Banana Ball, dude. I gotta say.
Yeah, I went last year and it was a lot of fun. The All-American Rejects were there on Saturday too, which I thought was very funny.
Did they hit?
Yeah, they hit. Yeah, ground out to second, but no, that looked like a lot of fun. The people that just hate on the Savannah Bananas, like, grow up.
Yeah,
like,
it's okay to have fun.
It's okay to just like have this silly thing where there's no real stakes. There's not a championship. Nobody cares if they win or lose. Like, it's mostly for kids, obviously, and it's making baseball popular amongst kids, which is a good thing because they're gonna start playing baseball and then actually become MLB fans,
right?
Like moving forward in their lives when they still like the game of baseball, but this is a great way to introduce them. Obviously, MLB's even embraced them, and it's fun to see. They're on YouTube, they're on ESPN, they're everywhere, and like. I felt less I felt like less bummed out I didn't get to go this year because I saw it last year. I'm sure it's a lot of the same type of energy and even a lot of the same presentation and everything. And I would go again in the future, but like it's not like one of those things where it's replacing MLB baseball. It's not doing that, but they help out each other at the end of the day. Yeah.
Which it's going to be really funny to think in 10 years these kids are playing baseball and they're like, wait, we don't all have to touch the baseball on a walk?
Yeah.
Like they're going to watch an actual baseball game and be like, nobody's doing a backflip while they catch the ball. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but then you'll see like James Wood hit it like a 700-foot home run or Roman Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll see like actual really great baseball since like you saw when I did watch them, I was like, Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking with Zach about the rules today, and how funny would it be if they introduced this brand new rule where they give one fan in the ballpark a blow dart with a tranquilizer in it, and at any point during the game, that fan can use that blow dart to tranquilize a player on
I
whatever
like that
team.
idea. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
some legal issues, but
Yeah, it's funny to think about because maybe the fan misses, maybe the fan doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Someone was joking that maybe the fan who gets it just always blow darts his wife.
wow.
Yeah,
I hate my bitch wife. My bitch wife. But anyways, we did play baseball today too.
Yeah, we did. We did. It was fun to be at. It felt like 2 games at once, but Fenway Park still great to go to. Had a great time. Had a lot of like softcore man porn, like everything at the Bananas game. The second things went silent or like the crowd tuned out, some Bananas player would go out there and take his shirt off and just like do belly dancing and like shirtless goofing around with all of his buddies.
I'm surprised this hasn't happened with the Red Sox because they are a very horny baseball team. I had a friend who's a Nationals fan that sat behind the Red Sox dugout today, and I warned him. I was like, "You're gonna see some rated R stuff. Like you might see full cock out there."
Yeah. Yeah, really?
Yeah,
Like
honestly, at
full-
this point, I would not be surprised if
full cock?
we saw somebody's bare butt and balls like on the Red Sox.
Bare butt and balls. Well, I mean, when in doubt, the Bananas also grabbed multiple 50, 60, 70-year-old very overweight men and had them go out there and just take their shirts off.
Hell yeah.
And we all loved it. Bill Lee was a guest pitcher today at the end of his
He was
appearance.
at my year too, or last year too. Yeah.
Did he take his shirt off at the end of your appearance as well?
He probably did.
Yeah, he did that for us. He pitched, got out of the inning, took his shirt off immediately. But had a great time. Banana Ball's a ton of fun. I would recommend anyone who's interested in going, if you can get a hold of tickets, definitely go.
I'm sure they'll be back next year since the creator of Banana Balls from Massachusetts and grew up a Red Sox fan.
Oh,
so.
Ben Rice?
Yeah, Ben Rice. Yeah, Ben Rice. Yeah.
Yeah, grew up in Massachusetts. Anyway.
Except he grew up a Red Sox fan.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Banana Ball.
Yep.
Game 3.
Yeah, game 3. Came out blazing hot today again. I loved the whole strategy this series of just scoring in the first inning or like in the second inning and just like feeling good. Yeah, like it feels good when we're the ones scoring all those runs early instead of giving them up. I much prefer that strategy from this team.
Why? What's the other strategy?
Give up 7 runs in the first.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how they expect to win games doing that.
Yeah. But
Crochet had an interesting day today. Still effective, but a lot of traffic.
yeah, and it was a lot of like ground balls between first and second, beating the shift. I don't know how many extra bases were in there. Obviously, no home runs or anything. Didn't like, he had 7 strikeouts, but it wasn't like a ton of domination. It was a lot of deep counts, and it wasn't against like the stars of it. It was against like Paul DeYoung and like company like that. So
Is Paul DeYoung with the Nationals?
yeah,
Oh
he
my
is.
God, that's
I saw
embarrassing.
it and I was like, I don't believe that. Anyways, the 9 hits aren't good. A lot of some bad BABIP in there. He did give up some hard contact, and you wish you could have at least gotten like maybe 6 innings, but you're not going to push him. He already leads the American League in innings and strikeouts too. Got his 150th today, which random milestone, sure, but it could put him on pace for 300. So
that would be a milestone for sure.
That is a true milestone. Yeah,
Absolutely is. Final stat line ended up being 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 9 hits, 2 walks, and 7 Ks, which 7 Ks.
7
still
Ks over
phenomenal.
5. Yeah, that's above it. That's good.
That's great. It's the 9 hits and 2 walks where I'm like, maybe we try and give him some more rest.
Yeah, and he's also an all-star, so there's a chance, I guess it would line up where he might be pitching in that Rays series, so he might not actually pitch in the all-star game, which I'm very okay with.
I would love to see him pitch in the All-Star game, but it's a pageant. It's a beauty pageant, right? Here, all your favorite players.
And he's not going to start anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Who Would Tarek Skubal start?
Tarek Skubal,
technically?
like, he really blew it out of the water, because I thought even if Crochet was better than Max Fried, it's Aaron Boone deciding it, so I feel like he would have picked him anyways. But if he doesn't pick Tarek Skubal, then he's just making a mockery of it. Yeah.
Aaron Boone is the coach for the All-Star game?
Yeah, because it's the World Series managers from the year before. Yeah.
I feel like we could come up with a better system than letting Aaron Boone coach an all-star team.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like that's exactly the level of responsibility that he should be handed. I'm glad that it is for the Yankees, and they're super collapsing right now, so that's fun.
Yeah, they're falling apart right on schedule.
Yep.
You love to see Volpe hitting Judge in the face with a baseball.
Yep. Getting blown out by the Mets, losing the series there. So just beautiful.
Yeah, and they did beat the Mets today.
In
but
third
the Mets,
place now. Yeah.
The Mets look good. The Mets look great in that series and have been looking good recently. I'm high on the Mets again this year.
Yeah.
But we're a Red Sox podcast.
We are a Red Sox podcast, yeah.
So, Crochet did a lot of work for you today. The bullpen came in and truly took care of business today.
Except for Greg Weissart.
Yep.
Well, the runs were Justin Wilson's. But, yeah, Greg did not look like he had much control. Another bases loaded walk and 2 walks. Literally the only batter that he got out was just on a pop fly. So, just give this guy some rest. We used Chapman for the 8th, which was good because he had James Wood and anybody else that mattered remotely.
Yep.
And then Hicks looked a little shaky in the 9th, but he got it done, so whatever.
He did. And he's throwing 100, which everyone in this bullpen somehow is reaching 100 miles an hour, and put this team back over 500 for how long, do you think?
Well, we gotta at least take 2 out of 3 from the Rockies, if not sweep.
At least 2 out of 3 from the Rockies.
Yeah, and we really should sweep. There's not a lot of excuses. We got Fitz, we got Bayo, and probably Giolito again. So, you know what? Looking at the Rockies pitchers, Gomber, 5.50 ERA, Freeland, 4.50 ERA, Senzel, 6.50 ERA. So
those are the exact numbers of guys who are going to tear up this.
Yeah,
team.
literally. There's 2 of them are lefties, so get ready to see Nate Eden lead off some more.
Yeah, which I haven't hated.
Which I haven't hated yet.
Has looked okay.
I think Nate Eden deserves a spot in this ball club once even Alex Bregman comes back, and that leaves somebody else going down. But the story for another day.
Very hard conversation when your fringe quadruple A guys are playing well. Toro, Romy Gonzalez is.
Oh, it's not those 2 guys.
No,
it's the guy not playing well.
Oh,
David Hamilton.
My dad. Oh,
yeah. No, your dad's doing great.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He was good. But I'm looking mainly at them because they're in the corners, right? And you didn't expect Abraham Toro to be good, but he's been good. Romy Gonzalez, you picked up as a DFA and is showing not one excellent year. Well, not one great year, but 2 great years in a row.
Yeah. So he seems legit. I have no idea what the White Sox just gave up on him.
Yeah. And you never know if it's just a fluke season with something like that. But the fact that he's putting together 2 seasons like that in a row, you just can't do any. You can't move him.
Yeah. No. Yeah, definitely a good guy to have. Didn't think too much of it once we got him a while back here, but it just goes to show. Yeah.
Speaking of making room on the roster, the Padres are just really going after it for Jarren Duran.
Yeah, there'll be a bidding war. So if I had to guess, August 1st, he's playing for another team just because the price, even with the slumping season, I think the market's just going to demand that, like, he gets like a good return. That could be a major league return too. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes because there's a lot of teams that could probably use his services. Like, just even off the top of my head, you have the Padres. Dodgers haven't got a lot of production out of left field. Mets haven't. Guardians haven't, even though they're kind of slipping out of it at this point. Giants could use a left fielder. There's a lot of teams that, could use a guy with 2.5 more years of control also. That's only being paid a few $1 million this year. So we'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, you want to fix the logjam, but I feel like you don't want to just give somebody away for free again.
So hilarious events from today is that Alex Verdugo was officially released by the Braves now that Jurickson Profar is coming back. And we know that Verdugo is not going to accept a minor league assignment, so probably why he wasn't picked up in a DFA, why he couldn't go back to the Braves. Do you think Verdugo being released is, one, hilarious?
Yes.
And two, do you think that weakens any trade potential that the Red Sox would have with an outfielder?
No, because Alex Verdugo bad.
He has not had a good couple years. Absolutely
Yeah.
true. But in his heyday, he was nearly a Gold Glove outfielder, and he was putting things together slightly above average with the bat. You don't think any team is willing to take a chance on that?
Maybe on the minor league deal, or like the Pirates if they sell half of their team and need
Pirates
warm
would
bodies
love
out
Alex
there.
Verdugo.
Yeah. So in that case, sure, maybe, but I don't think a contending club is really counting on Alex Verdugo right now
I agree.
because he's bad.
Yes, because he's bad. Also, not a great attitude. Well,
Yeah.
maybe he's improved. I don't know.
I
But
doubt it. He's an
yeah,
asshole.
He kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
In theory, a Duran trade to the Padres, who is a guy you would want or need to get back from the Padres for Jarren Duran?
Fernando Tatis. No, that's such a pipe dream, and
Yeah.
I want it so bad, but it's not going to happen.
Well, like you said, you
there's some
make
good
room for that
relievers
guy.
over there. Suarez and I'm blanking on the other guy's name right now, but
Sure.
maybe you get one of their starters, but it's not even the two guys that you want, Season King or rentals, and they're free agents at the end of the year, so that's not ideal either. You're probably not looking for so much of that. So I feel like you could mix and match, maybe even a 3-team trade somehow gets it done where you're getting a starter back, or you're getting, at least like a top prospect that mightn't be near or something like that too. So I think he still will get you a good return. I don't know where it's going to be from, or even if it does end up happening, but I'm sure it'll be very funny to see the reaction of Red Sox fans online.
You know me, I am crazy about keeping Jarren Duran, but I mean, personally, like I've said, if you can get Matt Waldron back in a trade from the Padres, I would have to consider letting
Or
Duran
somebody
go.
good.
Yeah, Waldron has not had a good few excursions in the majors, but he's young, has a lot of control, has a really wide arsenal, has a knuckleball, which Boston fans love.
Yeah.
You just need a pitching coach who can teach control, which Boston, for once, happens to have a pitching coach who can teach control.
Yeah, you can't really teach control of the knuckleball because the one guy that would have.
It's the knuckleball is more like the random put away pitch, right? It's the slider, curveball. It's all the moving pitches that he needs to get better control of before he starts throwing the knuckleball every time.
Yeah, I would want somebody a little bit more polished. I think.
Nick Pivetta.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring him back.
Yeah. So, well, the return is, I don't want to say secondary because you do want to get a lot back, but it's more clearing up a spot in that outfield.
We do need a spot, which if you're another team listening to this, that is not a reason to lowball us for Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu.
No.
I would love to keep both of them if we can, and maybe let Rob Refsnyder retire at the end of the year.
But then you still have the problem with Cedon and Roman, because and then do you really want to DH Roman either?
I would love to DH Roman.
I don't. He loses a lot of value if you do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you also lose a lot of that development because you want him to be your outfielder of the next 6+, hopefully. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Moneyball meme, we teach Jarren Duran second base again.
Yeah. I think if that was gonna happen, we would have probably already tried it.
You
Yeah.
can't. And even though this team is frustrating to watch this year, I'm really watching players solidify into their positions long term. Story, if we keep him the entire time, 2 to 3 years, Marcelo, solidified infielder. Third base right now, Bregman, lock him up, but solidified infielder. Your outfield, solidified with Rob Refsnyder platooning in as necessary. And behind the dish, you have Carlos Narvaez, who did not get a fucking all-star.
Yeah, bullshit. I could kind of understand Cedon because a lot of the offensive numbers aren't great, and a lot's happened over the last week even to get to that point. Narvaez, I do not understand how you don't add this guy on, especially since, he's a rookie, always a cool thing to have happen, and Aaron Boone was over the moon about him whenever the Yankees were facing the Red Sox each time this year. So I feel like, he did get snubbed.
Who are the all-star catchers, do you know?
Cal Raleigh. So that one makes
fair.
sense.
100% fair.
And Alejandro Kirk, who's having a good year, but yeah.
I have seen this Alejandro Kirk script before.
Yeah. There's still some guys that end up, not being able to make it for whatever reason, and guys get added. So maybe he still does at the end of the by the end of the week, and he's out there in Atlanta, I believe it is this year. So, Julio Rodriguez did not deserve to make it over Cedon Rafaela either. Yeah.
Julio Rodriguez made it. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, he's having a bad year, and
last year was a bad year too.
Yeah, I get it's a bit of a popularity contest. You want like some of the faces of the league in there, and you have like the legacy pick of Clayton Kershaw being a DEI hire.
Yeah.
Get his participation trophy.
Yeah.
Did
Devers make it?
Devers did not make it.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird because he doesn't deserve to be a National League All-Star.
He doesn't. Yeah, I think the trade taking place like 2.5 weeks ago might have something to do with him not making the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But also
kinda
a little
funny,
bit of kind of like,
funny. Yeah.
I guess I'll watch like some of the All-Star game. Carlos
I'll watch
Narvaez
it.
not making it.
Yeah.
Cedon not making it.
I have no energy to really get worked up about the All-Star game as a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
It's for kids. It's for kids, and that's fine.
It is.
It's to grow the game with like people like tuning in to see their dude,
the stars,
and then seeing the rest of the stars, and you're having fun. It is really almost like more of a Savannah Bananas game than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine the All-Star game was just Banana Ball.
Yeah. They should really consider that.
That would really be funny. To check our boxes, it was Alex Bregman got the All-Star vote, who hasn't played half the season, but deserves it. Crochet got it, and then Aroldis Chapman got it. For the Red Sox.
So all three guys were not on the club last year, so all three of our All-Stars this season, Craig Breslow editions. And you probably should have had another fourth in Carlos Narvaez, also a Craig Breslow edition. Yeah, so you got to give credit where it's due in that case.
Breslow has put together a serviceable roster. Yeah. So we'll play our game for tonight. We're a little over time. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Comment, subscribe, go to Chili's, go to the zoo. Want to recognize today we hit 4,000 Twitter followers.
We did. Yeah, very exciting. If I said we ever get 10,000, I'm getting a tattoo. So
what's the tattoo going to say?
Not another Sox podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it might say something else. Can I pick it if we reach 10,000?
No. I'm still picking it.
What if I let the fans pick it if we reach 10,000?
It's just going to be the logo. I hate to break this to you, but...
Wow. Thank you for 4,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, thank you.
Go find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Tonight's game. You might love it. You might hate it. In honor of Banana Ball today, a very famous basketball team, the Harlem Globetrotters, as we all know and love them, used to do many wild crossover episodes between multiple TV shows, cartoons, so on, so on, so on. The game tonight, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows in front of me where they did crossovers or appearances. I need you to name 2 of them. And if you get 2 very fast, I need you to name 3 of them.
Okay. I'm going to go Fat Albert.
Great guess. No.
Okay.
But a lot of the voices from Fat Albert did the voices for the Globetrotters and any animated series.
Gotcha. Futurama.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, I remember that one. Yeah.
You definitely do. What was that episode again where they...
Yeah. Where, like, the Harlem Globetrotters come from space, and they have to face, like, a rival alien team. It's almost like Space Jam. And there's these time hops in the universe, so things just keep bouncing around. Great episode. So I got one of them here.
You did. Futurama, really stupid, really funny.
Yeah. And I feel like some of them are older.
Yep, definitely some of them are older, which is why
I'm gonna go.
it might be a little tricky.
The Cosby Show.
No, they
No?
never made an appearance on The Cosby Show.
Good for them.
Bill Cosby was given a lifetime $1 a year contract with them. However, has later been scrutinized for his relationship with that team, and the team has since discontinued their relationship with him.
Good. Yeah.
I learned all of this in all my Globetrotter research today.
Good. I'm gonna just go like a random ass one here. I'm gonna go like 2.5 Men.
They did not do 2.5 Men.
Yeah, I didn't see that show.
Great call. If you want a little help,
yeah, I feel like I should get like a hint on one or two of these.
Yeah, so sitcoms from the 60s and 70s, and you also have another big animated cartoon in there.
Okay. Is one of them like Cheers?
It's not Cheers.
Okay.
Another good guess. All things you would think Harlem Globetrotters would be in.
Yeah. The animated one. Ooh. Is it Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
It is not. Think earlier.
Think earlier.
Mm-hmm. But there was that random imaginary friend who was just a great basketball player.
That's what made me think of it, yeah. Earlier. Is it Cartoon Network or...
It is Cartoon Network,
okay,
yep.
It's Cartoon Network.
You might see it a lot on Boomerang in particular, but it is Cartoon Network. I love that you're zoning in on the cartoon. Let me help you with that one.
Yeah. Yep. Is it Scooby-Doo?
It is.
Yeah!
It is
that seems like something Scooby-Doo would be on, yeah.
They had a 3-episode stint of Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters.
That's right.
Very weird episodes, but I mean classic Harlem Globetrotters fashion to just be in Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
So, yes.
Let's hear the other ones here. I feel like I had some decent guesses, yeah.
You did. And
I got one just on my own, which I'm happy with. I at least got one,
which one of the better episodes of Futurama 2.
Yeah.
And Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters. There was another old show from 1945. It was like the Peter Anthony Show. I didn't write it down because if you're getting that and you're listening to our podcast, tell your friends for as long as they can still listen to podcasts. Other shows we had were Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
Made appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show. Was in Donnie Marie, The White Shadow, and The Love Boat. Were notable appearances from the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, I didn't even know half of those. So
yeah, I figured if you get any, it'd be Gilligan's Island. But I'm glad you got Scooby-Doo and Futurama.
Yeah, You were not gonna sneak Futurama past me.
No, I was not. That's all I have for you tonight, pal.
Yeah, well, should be back next week against the Rays. So
can't wait for that
rematch.
Rematch.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
No, I love you.
Okay.
No, I love you. Okay, I love you. Bye. No, I love you.
Play.